Thanks for joining me on this Intraday Phuket Trader. There are a number of new innovative features that we will be discussing throughout the video, so buckle up and let's have a good test drive. Before we get started, I just wanted to discuss the structure of the program itself. Now, Phuket Trader uses MetaTrader as a bridge, and the MetaTrader program provides functionality for scanning and trading. It also allows us to consider the data that is available on MetaTrader itself. Now look, I don't have a particular recommendation for which broker you're going to use. All I know is that all the demos are free. So when you set up a demo account, all the facilities of that particular broker will be available through Phuket Trader at no cost. If I was to express a preference, I would say Pepperstone, simply because they have a very good range of trading instruments and they provide full information on industry and sub-industry within their downloaded list of symbols. Now that list of symbols is automatically downloaded as part of the installation. We just have a quick look at the README file, and we'll make references to some post installation procedures that you will need to carry out. Firstly, after you have downloaded the program, you will need to copy the expert advisors. Now there are two expert advisors provided as part of the installation, namely PhuketTrader.ex4 for MetaTrader 4 and PhuketTrader.ex5 for MetaTrader 5. Now I would recommend MetaTrader 5 simply because there are more features in MetaTrader 5 and it is gradually gaining more acceptance. But nevertheless, you can trade and carry out strategy development from within MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5 using these expert advisors. As part of the installation, the bridge, which allows us to interface directly with MetaTrader, must be copied into the MetaTrader 5. It does require MetaTrader 5, so just a note on copying that file across. And the usual instructions relating to enabling expert advisors. And just one other note, that to give us the full functionality of the data facilities available in MetaTrader 5, make sure that within your options that you have set max bars to unlimited, and just a note to restart your platform after you've made those changes. Now, after the installation, there are a couple of PDFs which will be automatically downloaded into your default directory. And by the way, your default directory is under Documents. It's simply called Phuket Trader. I'll let you read these in their own time. They are quite valuable reading. I also make reference to a couple of websites. One is TradingSim.com and another one is ForexStrategiesRevealed.com. We'll just have a look at ForexStrategiesRevealed.com for a moment. Now this website, as the name implies, is primarily set up for Forex trading. However, the strategies that are presented are applicable to all types of trading, whether it be CFD, index funds or stock CFD trading. These strategies can be incorporated into your strategy development within Phuket Trader. I also mentioned TradingSim.com. Now, the reason I mention them is that they have a brilliant set of 100 PDF files which you can download off the website. I'll just show you that. That is this one here, this link here. So you can go to the website and download that, courtesy of TradingSim.com. But a very, very well explained set of strategies. This is the index of all the strategies. If we were to just look at one in isolation, this is talking about morning reversal, gap fill, and it's a very, very well written document, as are all the documents in these 100 trading strategies. So there is no shortage of ideas for trading strategies, and the beauty of Phuket Trader is that there is no programming required. It is fully self-contained, and in actual fact you can develop your own strategies independent of Phuket Trader using your MetaTrader platform. Any trading strategies developed within Phuket Trader are automatically exported, I should say. The set files are automatically created for you to include within your MetaTrader installation. So that is enough of the installation procedures. We'll discuss a little bit more about the program itself now. I mentioned a moment ago a full list of symbols being downloaded as part of the installation. What you can see here is that there is an XLSX file, which is your Excel format, and also there's a CSV version of it. But this is the full list of symbols from Pepperstone. That will be the default unless you choose to download your own list from whatever provider you're using. And you can see here that it's very nicely organized by sector and of course your industry. And if you're looking at this here, I have already formatted the Excel file myself, but you can see here it starts with the Australian Stock Exchange, and we move down through here. We move on to the German Stock Exchange. There's the Hong Kong, the London Stock Exchange, USA NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, and many of the S&P 500 symbols are included. And going a little bit further, we've got the commodities, the cryptos, the currencies, and then the exchange traded funds. And finally, we've got some index funds as well. So as I mentioned, Pepperstone is the default, but you can use whoever you like. It's just that some of the other providers don't provide the ability to sort by sector and industry, which is a big plus if you're making your own watch list. Now, on the subject of watch lists, all these buttons across the top use a common feature called watch lists, and if we are in Builder at the moment, if we were to select tickers, it will bring up a watch list. Now this is the standard presentation for each of the buttons across the top for selecting instruments to work with. So there'll be more reference to that in a moment. I mentioned a number of innovative view features, and I'd just like to run through these at the moment. Within Builder, you have the ability to carry out back testing at portfolio level. Now by portfolio level, I mean using multiple strategies, multiple instruments, multiple time frames, and it will run through sequentially given the date range that you want to test, and test all these concurrently. It's a unique new feature. I don't think you'll find it in other trading platforms. Within Optimizer, you have the ability to carry out simultaneous multiple optimizations. That is, you can optimize more than one instrument, more than one strategy, and obviously more than one time frame. Within Tester, you have the ability now to backtest 2 independent date ranges. You can see that it will default to the previous 3 months, but there is the ability to have a second date range. Both of these will be tested concurrently. Within TradingView, now that's a new feature. I have added an interface to TradingView, and this will circumvent the problem that free subscribers to TradingView have, where you can only view a small number of charts concurrently unless you upgrade your subscription. Within the TradingView interface, within this Phuket Trader program, you can look at multiple charts concurrently, up to 32 charts at a time. And there are many additional scanning functions which we'll run through in a moment. The scanner provided within Phuket Trader itself has 2 modes. One is to scan particular instruments over particular time frames. And the new function that I wanted to talk about particularly is the ability to undock each particular displayed chart. So you can display up to 64 charts on the screen, but there is an undock feature which will allow you, if you're using multiple screens, to take any of the undocked instruments to anywhere within your system, your monitor system. Also within Scanner is the ability to scan using multiple strategies concurrently. So we're talking about this ability to use multiple strategies, multiple instruments and multiple timeframes. That feature is common also within Trader. Now the difference between scanning and trading is scanning is advisory. Trading, the trades will actually be automatically executed. They are executed within Phuket Trader, but the interface with MetaTrader is enabled, and if you view your MetaTrader platform, you will see these particular trades being placed within MetaTrader. And the latest additional feature is seasonality. Now I'll just give you a quick peek at that at the moment. And we're just simply looking at one instrument now, which is the Euro USD, and we're looking at the average daily movement over the last 10 years of this particular instrument. Now we can also include 5 years, 3 years, and so on. We can even compare it with another ticker. But that gives you a lot of information regarding the seasonal trends relating to instruments. And of course you can detrend the view. Now detrending the view simply means you take out the fact that the trades could have been profitable or unprofitable. It starts at 100 and ends at 100. But it gives you an idea of the cyclical nature of a particular instrument. As I mentioned, you can compare with other tickers. Let's go back to Builder and we'll have an in-depth look at that. Two modes within Builder. There is the offline mode, where you don't need a connection with Phuket with MetaTrader, and there is included data as part of your installation, which you can use in an offline mode. There's also further data available for download through the Phuket Systems website. And I just draw your attention to this button here, free intraday data. That gives you a complete set of data, ranging right back to 2019, the end of 2019. But also there is a downloader within Phuket Trader where you can download whatever data you like. So a new feature is the ability to download intraday data free of charge. Back to the program itself. The offline mode, as I said, you're using existing data which resides on your system or is downloaded through the Phuket Trader website. There is an online mode which is required if you're going to do portfolio level back testing. Initially, we'll just look at the offline mode. When the program opens, it opens, this is the default screen when the program opens. So we have a default strategy automatically selected. A number of sample strategies that are included in the installation, and here we have a set of 4 conditions, and each particular condition is enumerated in this window here. If we were to select another line, the information is shown here, and of course you've got your normal housekeeping abilities here where you can insert, add, update, clear and delete conditions. So that is your trade conditions tab. We have 2 other tabs. We'll look at the management tab. This is more like a housekeeping tab where you indicate a magic number, which you will be using, of course, if you're using the facilities of MetaTrader. But you can carry out trading and back testing without using MetaTrader. So that's applicable for MetaTrader. You've got a few other options here. Equity value, you can nominate for purposes of backtesting your starting equity value. I'll let you look at that in your own time and refer to the help manual, which is also available on the website for download, and it will be part of your installation in any case. You can access that through this button here. Second tab across is your stop loss and take profit, and once again you have an option for a trailing stop loss. And that's that option there. Take profit, you can have a number of stages of take profit, and this input here relates to the commission charge per trade. So I won't spend too much time on strategy development at this stage. It will be the subject of another video where we'll discuss a full list of features available. Check the help document for a full list of the facilities that you do have that are available, but just a little teaser. If we were to look at trade conditions, there's a huge number of options that you can use for determining what you're going to use for your strategies. And just down the bottom you've got little things like, or not little things, significant things like candlestick formations. You've got divergence, RSI, MACD, you've got super trend, Bollinger Bands, many options relating to strategy development. I'm going to leave it on the default, and by the way, this is a very simple strategy. It simply says that if the RSI crosses through the RSI 14 crosses through an oversold level moving upwards, that's the 30, to open a buy trade, and to back that up with a reasonable ATR. That is, there's a reasonable trading range, so it's not hovering around the 30, but you're showing a little bit of impetus. And similarly an opposite strategy for selling, where it crosses down below 70, but also with a reasonable trading range. Just be aware of this option here, which is the auto create. If you create a buy condition, if that box there is checked, it will automatically create an opposing sell condition. So that's this simple strategy. To back test that is just a matter of pressing the tester button. So I'll go ahead and do that. So it's almost instantaneous, and this is the result of 3 months of testing on that particular strategy. It was actually quite profitable. That is a coincidence, and we can certainly do better. Maximum drawdown was only 3%. Profit was $2,000 odd. The profit factor very high, 2.81. Over here you have the equity curve. These are the size of your strategies, and we will talk more, and I'd refer you to the PDF about money management to get a complete grip on how to handle your lot size. This is a list of your winning trades and your losing trades, the ratio of wins to losses, shorts and longs. Day of the week, you can see there were hardly any trades on a Wednesday, but the other 4 days are profitable. If we click on show hour of day, not a lot of relevance there, other than suffice to say that around about 8-9 o'clock in the morning was a fairly active time for opening trades, and that is understandable because that reflects the opening of the London Stock Exchange. So that is the result of a simple back test where you created the strategy within Build, or the one that's actually created itself. At this stage, let's complete that discussion about optimizing a strategy, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about portfolio level back testing. So if we go into Optimizer, you can create your own optimizations. The default optimization file will be automatically loaded, and there is a default optimization file called default.opd, and we are optimizing certain values to achieve an enhanced result. Now, beware of curve fitting. That is the process of changing these figures so that you get the greatest return. The whole idea of optimization is that each instrument and time frame has a particular DNA, and what we're doing is we're altering stop loss and take profit values, altering the values of the various parameters to achieve an enhanced return. And of course that is simply dependent on the time frame chosen, and we're going to check this box. We'll check a second date time range too. So just quickly looking at this without too much detail, we're optimizing stop loss and take profit between 10 and 90 with steps of 10. You nominate these figures yourself, by the way. We're optimizing condition 1, parameter 1. Now, that's line 6, and it's linked to line 8. So there's line 6 there, but we have line 8 also linked to it, so we're actually combining together the value of the RSI. So it's going between 10 and 20 with steps of 2. This one here is line 6, and it relates to condition type 2 parameter 1, so that's type 2 parameter 1, and that is obviously a different value to the one passing down for the sell situation. So we're optimizing this 30 value, we're going to go between 10 and 15 steps of 10. And similarly with line 8, we haven't got these joined because we're optimizing between 50 and 90 in steps of 10. So we're looking for the one that achieves the best return. And a couple of others, the ATR figures, we're optimizing this figure between 1 and 10, and the number of pips per bar, we're optimizing that between 1 and 10. Now, so if we go ahead and start that optimization now, I'm going to pause the video just to save a bit of time, and we'll come back at the end and review the results. So we'll go ahead and click on Start Optimization. So now you can see that these, by the way, there's 3 different types of optimization. I would suggest that you leave it on genetic. Genetic optimization simply means that you're taking a set of values, working with those, and then taking the optimum set of those values and using them genetically. And this process happens about 4 times to achieve a final optimum set of values. And you can see out on the left-hand side the various optimizations taking place. So I'm just going to pause the video now, and we'll come back to it towards the end. Just coming towards the end of the back test now. Once this optimization is finished, you'll see that it will automatically step into the second time frame, and there it is now. It's performing a back test on the second time frame automatically. Now, if you look at this here, you can see that have a number of columns. You can sort these columns however you like. It's just a matter of clicking on the column header. It is automatically sorted on the most profitable return on the first set of dates. So that is 1st of January to the 31st of March. By the way, you can use whatever time frames you like there. There is a limitation on the evaluation version of 3 months, but you can use 2 separate values of 3 months for that test. If we go out to a full-size table, you can see these figures here in green. These represent optimizations of the second date range which fall within nominated parameters. Now, the nominated parameters you can set yourself, but it's preset to a maximum of 20% drawdown and a minimum gain of 10%. So you can see here, if we were to look at one of these, we'll look at quite a good one. Let's have a look at this one here. I'll click on this one here. This has a return of 2857, but if you look at the second date range, it has an even better return of 6237. So if I click on Review Second Date Result, you can see that that now has a 6237 return. Drawdown 12%, that's acceptable. So that's the analysis of the second date range. This is the first date range. We'll just go back to that. We'll cancel the second date range. Now, you have by automatically selected the top 20 returns. You can save these results by clicking on the Save Results button, and you can subsequently load that in again without doing the optimization again. So that's using the Load Result button there. The other thing is that whatever whatever line you select, and if we just go back, we'll select this line here, that set of figures is automatically taken into your builder section, so that if you wanted to adopt this and write it to a set file, these figures are automatically taken over. You can see here that if we were to look at these parameters here, it's an RSI of 10 crossing above 40, the RSI 10 crossing below 70. We've got the ATR with a value of 4 and similar ATR with a value of 4. So slightly changed, but these figures have automatically been taken into your builder section. So if we were to go into the builder, you can see that these fees are automatically the 10, 40, 10, 70, the value of 4 for the ATR, automatically taken there. So if you were to save this particular back test, you get the option to name the save file, and at the same time it will automatically write set files for MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 without any intervention of your own. So if you were to take those set files and run the Expert Advisor within MetaTrader, you have the functionality within MetaTrader that we are dealing with here. It's just that Phuket Systems is a much more sophisticated trading platform and gives you far more versatility than MetaTrader does. Just going back to the optimizer just for a second, I mentioned the multi-select option. If we were to click on this button here, you get the option to create a new multi-select. Now, multi-select means that you're working with multiple strategies, with multiple instruments over multiple time trades. These results, if you're using multi-select, are automatically saved. You do not need to manually save them because sometimes these multiple optimizations might take a number of hours to run. So that the results are automatically saved. So if we go into new multi-select now, you can select any number of strategies. These are all the sample strategies, but you can select whatever you like. We select that and that. Sorry, hold down the control button when you multi-select. And select tickers. Well, once again, our watch list comes up. We'll select, say, first 4 here. And we'll select 15 minutes. 15 minutes, hold down the control button, and 1 hour. Selection's completed. You can see now that we're actually carrying out for about 16, possibly 18 back tests. These will all happen automatically with no intervention required on your part. And once they have been carried out, you will see the progress on the tester page as these are being done. The files, the result of the optimization will be automatically written. I mentioned the ability to carry out portfolio level back testing. This is enabled through the build that section. So for this portfolio level back testing, you will need to go to the online mode. And that simply means that you must have that connection to MetaTrader active. We can use multiple strategies, so we'll select a second strategy for the purposes of the exercise. I'm holding down the control button on my keyboard and left clicking to select multiple strategies. We'll just use 2 at the moment. We'll go in and select tickers by using that button there. I'll just select a couple just for the purposes of the exercise and to speed up matters. And we'll use a couple of time frames. Selection completed. You can see now that we have, for the portfolio level back test, we have 4 back tests on the 30-minute range, 4 back tests on the 60-minute range, and of course the 2 different strategies and 2 different instruments. Now we'll start this back test. I will pause it during the back test and we'll come back and discuss some of the features of this portfolio level back test. So to carry out the back test, same as before with the single instrument back test, we click on Tester. Now when we click on Tester, it will automatically start the back test itself. Now just wait for it to start up, and then it's just starting up now, and you can see that the equity curve is just starting to develop now. And this, you can watch this develop as it's testing each individual strategy in sequence throughout the test period. Just one note that you can't test the second date range, it's just simply 1 date range on this test. I'll pause at this stage and we'll come back towards the end. Just coming towards the end of the portfolio level back test now, you can see that this is going to be slightly profitable, though not significant. It made $1,481 with a drawdown of 11%. Now, just a little note here, this is your list of trades that it did take. Now, if you look at this button up here, and I'm going to click on that, you can see that this is a full history of everything that's been evaluated and back tested. Move now on to the TradingView interface, which is quite a detailed interface. It gives you a very comprehensive scanning procedures courtesy of TradingView.com. First button on the left is the multi-charts button. If we click on that, we get the option to select whichever tickers we want to use. We'll use the default group and we'll just use the 1 hour time frame. So once you make that selection, it will automatically load in the contents of your chosen list. In this case, it's bringing in the 1 hour time frame for your default list. Now, each one of these charts can be expanded to full-size single chart, or you can just leave them in the windowed mode like this, but you can have up to 16 charts concurrently displayed. So 2 methods again to a single chart. You either click on that button there, or in this case we'll just click on the full chart here. Now that brings up the full size chart. I'll just bring it within the window, have a good look at it. Out on the on the right hand side, you can see you do get some details relating to the strength of the currency itself. But that is your single chart interface. The next button along is the screener. Screener, once again, is quite comprehensive. It gives you a look at basically any particular group that you like. We have Forex selected. We could select the USA group, and each of these columns are clickable to sort on the values within that column. So if we were to sort on technical rating, for instance, and we go back to the strong buys, you can see that all the tickers are now sorted in strong buy order and in descending order from there. Just close that one off. Go on to the next one, which is the heat map. Heat map, once again, we're looking at the Forex heat map, but you can change that to a currency heat map. We select stocks. This will give you an overview of the S&P 500 index at the moment, but you can change that to whatever you want, including overseas markets. So just close that off. Onto market overview. Market overview, as it implies, gives you an overview of the complete market. So we're looking at indices, futures, bonds, Forex, and it is just basically a snapshot of the market as it occurs on that particular day. The next item across is the symbol overview, and this gives you a more detailed view of each individual symbol. We've got indexed indices highlighted, futures, bonds, Forex and stock. So if we were to select the stock section, you can see it's having a good look at Apple, and it's looking at the moment over 1 year, but you can go to 5 years, 1 day, even all. So once again, a very, very convenient way of looking at each individual ticker by itself. And finally, we have the analyzer itself. Now, the analyzer simply shows you the strength of a particular instrument, and can be either a Forex stock indice, whichever one you like, and it will show you the strength over the various time periods. So if we were to select 1 day, showing the same strength over 1 day, over 1 minute's a bit stronger, but that is your view, the symbol overview facility. We'll just back out of that at the moment. We'll close off our TradingView interface. Moving on to the next section, we go to scanner. Now this is the scanner that is actually built into Phuket Trader itself. There are 2 modes. There's a mode to scan the charts and a mode to scan using any number of the predefined strategies. Firstly, we'll look at scan charts. We click on that left-hand button, we get the watch list interface. We'll select the total default group, and we'll look at the 1 hour time frame. So you can see here that we have a group of 12 charts. It can actually, in this situation, go up to 64 charts, and you can actually detach these charts and view them in a separate window of their own. The way to do that is this button here, external chart. So if I was to click on that now, You can't see the whole screen, but basically each chart now has gone out into a window of its own, and you can drag these across multiple monitors and position them wherever you like. But the same features as if they're in the one window. We'll just return. This is the interface here for controlling your individual charts. We'll return to the window mode. We're back in the window mode there, but I just wanted to show you that pop-out feature because it is a new feature. Each individual chart can be controlled independently, or you can control all the charts themselves. So to control a chart independently, it's a matter of right-clicking on the chart, and it will change to a cyan-coloured background. And if we select just two charts, for example, if we wanted to show, for instance, just the volume and the market on those two charts, having right-clicked on both of them, we now select volume. You can see that we're getting volume shown on those two charts only. If we were to go ahead now and deselect these charts by right-clicking on them once again, any changes that we make relating to indicators will apply to all the charts. So if we select, for argument's sake, RSI, you can see now that those changes are being applied system-wide to all the charts in the selected watch list. So you can see that that is now the situation. We change it to anything else and it will apply to all charts. One other feature that I need to mention is the Show Heat Map button. We select that, it will show the relative strength of the particular charts in relation to each other. Now we have RSI selected, it's showing the relative strength of the change in RSI from the last bar in relation to all the charts being displayed, and you can see that it is dynamic. If we deselect RSI by selecting none, it will show the relative strength of the price change in each of the indicators. Now you can see at the moment we've got a few dark green, which represents a fairly significant upward movement in the price. These couple of red ones have a significant downward movement. And once again, dynamic. It relates, we've just had a changeover in bars at the end of a 1 minute time gap. So all the colours will change as the bar develops in the new 1 minute time frame. So that's your heat map feature. We'll move on to the next section, which is the trading section. And in this section, this simply shows the strategies as they are selected and being traded. It will show them being traded. Now, I have pre-selected the strategies just to save a bit of time. And in actual fact, we do have two trades open. Whenever a trade is open, the applicable chart will automatically open, showing you the parameters which will confirm that the trade has taken place. If we were to look at MetaTrader itself, you will see that the relative trades will be actually taking place. So we do also have an option for a manual trading. If we go into stop auto trading and select manual trading, we do have the option to take a manual trade. Now the last selected instrument will be the focus instrument. You can change instruments by simply clicking on manual trade once again to select another instrument. And if we select, for instance, a manual buy, you can see then that a suggested lot size will come up. And in this case, we're looking at the US 500 index. We've got a buy price, a take profit price already set, stop loss already preset, a cancel button and a confirm button. Now, these figures here are set through automatically through the trade parameters button. So whatever settings you have set in here, these will be applied automatically to your manual trade. So you can see here that we've got a stop loss, a trailing stop loss of 25 pips, and that is reflected in the 5018 versus 5043. Take profit similar. We're using 2% of equity, so that represents your trade parameters. The other one that I wanted to reference in relation to that are the indicator parameters. Now we do have, as far as your indicator goes, these parameters are preset, but you can vary them. For instance, we've got two moving averages, a 20 period moving average and a a 40 period moving average and a 20 period moving average. And in this case, the RSI is preset at a 14 period RSI. So they are your indicator parameters. So in summary, the difference between scanning and trading, as I mentioned previously, is that trading will trade a predefined set of strategies. There's no limit to the number of strategies, no limit to the number of instruments, and no limit to the number of timeframes, unlike trading off MetaTrader, where you're limited to one strategy, one time frame per chart. You can have unlimited strategies and unlimited timeframes in Phuket Trader. The other aspect of trading, of course, is that you have your manual trade, which is predefined in your trade parameters. So the manual trade is managed automatically, even though it says manual. The close of the trade is manual, is controlled by the settings here. Next item to be discussed is seasonality. You had a sneak preview of that earlier on. Seasonality basically is the examination of a particular instrument looking for seasonal trends over on a yearly basis, but averaged out over the last N number of years. The default review is over the last 10 years. So in this particular case, we're looking at the Euro USD, its average daily price movement over the last 10 years. So it does not represent actual prices, it simply represents the average shift in prices over the last 10 years. We can detrend that, in other words, take out the fact that there was a positive or a negative result by clicking on the detrended view, and now you would just look at the seasonal upwards and downwards movement of the stock over that year. I'll just uncheck the detrended view and we'll bring in the average daily movement over 5 years. So that's the movement over 5 years and movement over 3 years. What we're looking for is a consistency in the movement, and there's not a lot of consistency in this other than definitely over the last 3 years and the last 10 years there is a downward movement in this area here. To a certain extent over the last 3 years it has not been as apparent. Certainly a move between, say, middle to end of August down to the beginning of October. It seems to be a common move amongst the whole three. You can compare this with another ticker, for example, and bring that in and just look at something else in relation to it. So if we look at, for instance, the movement of crude oil over the same period, we'll try that one. And you see if we're looking at crude oil, so I've got spot crude here, which is this particular one here. It's a little bit more volatile than the actual movement of your Euro USD. But it just, the idea of having a detrended view is, the idea of having a comparison ticker is that you can line up two different instruments and see if there's a commonality in movement. In this particular case, there's really no commonality. Now, also draw your attention to the fact that we can break down these price movements to month of year, and it's each particular year is represented by the columns out on the left, and each particular month is a particular row. So we can, looking at 2019 to 2022, definitely in May there is a tendency for the price to move down. And if we were to look at 2015, well, that was a good year in relation to the other years. So in particular, I'd be looking at the month of the year to see if there's any commonality. For instance, it's fairly obvious that in the earlier years, in May, the price moved up, but certainly in the later years, with the exception of 2023, the prices tended to move down. Look at this one here, 2016 through to 2020, a tendency of the price to move down in June. Week of the month, well, a similar consideration. If we're looking at the months between July and October, third week in July, there is a tendency for the price to rise. And similarly, the fourth week in many of the months, there is a tendency for the price to rise. Day of week, well, once again, we're looking for consistent patterns. Not a lot of consistency in the Euro USD. You might find it in many of the tickers, but not necessarily all. And this is the hour of the day. Now, obviously on Mondays, there is a tendency, particularly in the earlier hours of the day, once the market opens, for it to move up. You can see that appears to be quite common for all months. So we're looking for consistency in the colours. The colours represent the relative strength of the movements. The darker green being strong positive movement, the darker red being a strong negative movement. So seasonality is something you can have a good deal of interest in exploring to see if there are seasonal patterns relating to the instrument that you want to look at. Finally, we'll look at the downloader. Now, the downloader itself is a feature that not many people are aware of, and you can download actual intraday data. Just looking over on the left-hand side for starters, there is a note to make sure that your MetaTrader is activated when you're going to carry out your downloading, because MetaTrader is not activated, you won't be able to download data, and the data does come from MetaTrader. A note here on downloading a ticker list. There is an actual expert advisor that is better off using to download your ticker list, and if we have a look at this note here, it says the connection to MQL5 does not provide country, exchange, sector and industry information. But if you run the expert advisor, which is provided from MQL5, you will get full sector, exchange and industry information. You can get the listed tickers and their countries and exchanges, but certainly you'll miss out on sector and industry information. To download information from the server, it's a matter of selecting the groups that you want to apply the download to. You can create a new group of your own, and if you select any particular group, you can show the tickers in that group and deselect any of the tickers that you do not want. It will default to showing all. You go back to watch list, just a matter of selecting the same button again. And certainly for an update, to update existing data, you can select all your watch lists, and it will in turn step through all the watch lists and automatically select all the tickers and do an appending of data. If you're going to use new data, the downloads are quite big, so I would just do one watch list at a time. If you select new data, you have the ability to change the dates. When you're doing an append, there is no ability to change the date. It is auto appended from the last fully downloaded date. So if you do an update of data during the day and do another subsequent append of data later on, it will ignore the partial append of the end of the last previous day and start at the beginning of the last completed day. Sorry, at the end of the last completed day. Downloading new data, you can select the time frames. You can select whichever time frames you like. It defaults to all, but you can selectively nominate which time frames you wish to work with. In relation to GMT adjustment, it's the standard GMT adjustment of your MetaTrader platform itself. A lot of the platforms work out of Eastern Russia, so that's where the feed comes from. So the GMT adjustment is 2 hours. That's the standard adjustment. Any adjustments for daylight saving are automatically handled by the system itself. So that the times that you end up being downloaded are set to standard GMT. If it's during daylight saving time, the adjustment will automatically change to 3 hours. So all you need to nominate is the standard adjustment, and it only relates to new data, the standard adjustment of your MetaTrader platform in relation to GMT. So they're normally 2 hours ahead. Some of them come out of the USA will be obviously 5 hours behind GMT, in which case you would put plus 5 hours to adjust to GMT. This Pepperstone feed coming out of Russia will be adjusted minus 2 hours to go to GMT. And finally, the date format in MetaTrader, you want to leave that as it is. There is a separate downloader which can be purchased independent of Phuket Trader, which allows you to change the data format to a data format of your own choice. So once again, in summary, the download allows you to download new data or append existing data. It has the intraday timeframes. The data, depending on the instrument chosen, will go back well before 2019. The standard value is from end of 2019 onwards, but you can go back further if you want to. Some of these later ones, for instance, Hong Kong stocks, the data range starts at about 2021 onwards. But for most of the, for instance, the Dow 30 and S&P 500 stocks, you will be able to go back a full 10 years, particularly in daily data, about 5 to 6 years in intraday data. This data is completely free, so it is a big advantage to have that. The next item across is your printer. Anything that you see on the screen, you can send to your printer. So it's whatever is shown on the screen, be it a back test, a optimization, even TradingView data, whatever you see on the screen, you can send to your printer. The final button across is your help display. That will display with your PDF reader automatically. It would probably in most cases default to the browser that you're using at the time. So this is the complete help file. You can step up and down through that, and that is available from within the program itself. I realise this has been a fairly lengthy presentation, but we haven't even touched on strategy development, and that will be the subject of another video. If you do appreciate this tutorial, please give me a thumbs up sign, and you can subscribe to the Phuket Trader channel. I will be adding on a regular basis more information on strategy development and how to make the maximum use of each of the functions. Thanks for your participation. Look forward to seeing you in the future.